welcome to Home Reviews, and today we're doing a special video. We're going to be talking about John Wick Chapter 4, just being released in cinemas in the UK. Oh my god, wow, incredible. I don't want to mess around too much in this review. This is more of a mainstream review. This is very much a Asian inspired, contemporary modern action extraordinaire. Almost 3 hours of John Wick kick-assery, from knife fights, gunplay, car stunts, just incredible action set pieces, massive scale. Definitely ups the ante in this fourth entry in the franchise. I mean, absolutely incredible, dominating the box office. 5 out of 5 reviews everywhere. Everyone's loving it. Extraordinary cast. You've got Keanu Reeves back once again. You've got Lance Reddick, which of course is tragic to see one of his final performances on screen, with Lance Reddick really recently passing away only a couple of weeks ago. Really sad. Just a bit of a kind of a tribute to him as a fantastic actor that he was, and just a great collaborator on these movies and many other projects that I've seen with, Fringe and The Wire and all that. You've got Donnie, goddamn yeah, Mr. IP man himself, doing some really kick-ass action set pieces, playing Kane the Blind, kind of a samurai, kind of action gun fu extraordinaire that he is. Hirosuke Naonaga, which plays the samurai, with part of the Japanese base Continental, just giving some really kick-ass action, just oozing with class, oozing with style. And him and Donnie Yen have a fantastic action set piece, which is just beautiful. An incredible extraordinary cast. Ian McShane's in this. We got Lawrence Fishburne, and for our villain of the piece we have Bill Skarsgård, which just delivers a fantastic, extraordinary representation of the High Table. This kind of really pompous, very kind of pretentious, high class kind of organization that messing with John, and John is representing this force of nature that is trying to disrupt the balance of the order, the rules and consequences. And he's there just like, no, I've had enough, I'm done, I'm going to kill them all. And this film really challenges those kind of ideas of going from a traditional kind of revenge movie that the first one was, John Wick 1 was, leading on to a much higher, bigger stakes with going from John Wick 2 to 3, and the aftermath of his destruction, his reign of how this one man can do, unstuck the balance and alliances, and kind of opportunity arises between various kind of adversaries and kind of friends and people in between, that kind of seeking opportunity from John is a kind of rampage, and his blood-soaked revenge kind of body count extraordinary that these films go on to. If you don't know my opinion on the first 3 movies, I haven't done reviews on the channel, I don't believe. Just going to give you a very brief insight. John Wick 1, absolutely phenomenal, just incredible movie. I remember when it first came out, it was just at the right time with new wave of kind of action movies that were kind of experimenting a little bit in Hollywood, because the action genre was kind of dying out a little bit. When you had movies like John Wick, you had the Raid 1 and 2 that were kind of showing, even though that was kind of foreign and kind of Western kind of collaboration kind of involved, there was definitely a new push there. Equalizer 1, Denzel Washington, so there definitely was a bit of a wave kicking up in the air. Mission Impossible movies, Tom Cruise pushing his kind of stunt work and his daredevil kind of mentality and full display. We're doing some of these crazy amazing stunt work. And John Wick 2, it's a personal favourite. I think I've watched John Wick 2 so many goddamn times. That's quite well, making more of a comic booky type world, a surreal type of structure kind of thing with the High Table and coins, and exploring the mythology, having new characters, again villains and and friends, and just how the kind of Continentals work with kind of the idea of having all your weapons laid out in front of you, having body cam kind of laced into your suits, and just this how everything kind of works in terms of business and pleasure and rules and consequences, I've mentioned. And just 2 really establishes how good, how rich that universe is and how wonderful that world is, and really going to go for it, including amazing action set pieces, of course, great music. John Wick Chapter physically just kind of flips it on its head. He's on the run, excommunicado, and he's having to fight for his life and fight for what he believes in. And that again is also challenged within the film. The idea is, what are you still fighting for, John? What do you represent now? You've had your revenge within initially the first 2 movies, and he's kind of on autopilot now. He's just kind of still reigning terror, and it's the idea that this has all been going on the past 2 weeks within the trilogy itself, and the High Table was like, what the heck is going on? Why are you disrupting the very nature of the foundation of all these kind of organizations and all these people that know their place, and everything works under the table. All the rules are from under the table, and everyone is taking their opportunity to kind of, you know, strike while the iron is hot, and, you know, people that have assisted John and kind of helped him or give him the kind of information or a weapon, or, you know, facilitated his kind of actions, because John definitely has a good library of friends, and even this is explored even more so within chapter 4, and it's extraordinary to see kind of continuing from not too long after the events of chapter 3, and the idea of just really kind of homing in on what is the end goal, John, what is the purpose. You know, you've killing so many people, you know, you kill off one of the high members of the High Table, another would take its place, and this is demonstrated not only within the trilogy but also within the film quite well as well. Gives you in the start of the film, you know, one of the kind of High Table kind of, you know, members has already been replaced from assisting John within chapter 3, which I think is quite fascinating. And this idea of, you know, you're going to run out of bullets before you run out of people to kill. Play them at their own game, challenge them to a duel the old ways kind of thing, and, you know, demonstrate that, you know, you can win against them and disrupt the foundation of what the High Table represents, and this idea of class and control, and, you know, I will serve, I will be a service kind of thing. This idea of, you know, a life for a life. If you don't serve, someone else will, and if you don't take a life, then we must require a life. And, you know, Bill Skarsgård's character in the film is absolutely phenomenal. He's basically this really pompous kind of Frenchman, someone who's been given full authority of the High Table to basically destroy the foundation of what John Wick is, and this kind of idea of him being an infection that needs to be stopped, and, you know, must destroy everything that he touches, because all these, you know, alliances, all these friends, all these kind of, everywhere he goes, it has to be an example. John has to be made an example, and I really like how far the film pushes that, and there's some surprising reveals, surprising deaths, surprising amount of kind of specific dialogue, some incredible interesting kind of conversation, talking pieces that kind of is all leading up to a pretty intense kind of third act sequence, which is not only exciting to lead up to that because all the action is phenomenal from start all the way to finish, but incredible range of talent and newcomers and new stars as well. The film is relentless, and it knows when to take a break, it knows when to have a nice quiet moment, he knows when to keep the action going, and, you know, Keanu Reeves really kind of pushes himself to this one, and he's having so much fun with the nunchuck weapons, the gun work, some amazing car stunts. There's an amazing sequence at the club, and the kind of the staircase which you see in the trailer where he's trying to go climb over these stairs, and he's got loads of goons in between him. The initial kind of fight between him and Donnie Yen, the first initial one, is absolutely brilliant, and it's played so well, not only because they know each other from, you know, previous kind of, you know, encounters in their previous life, but just also this resentment kind of thing, and the motivations between both, you know, where John Wick's coming from and why he's doing what he's doing, and how everyone else is suffering the consequences of, again, what John Wick is trying to achieve. You know, Mr. Nobody also in the film, which is this kind of tracker with a dog, which is a great character in the film. I'm not familiar with the actor himself, but he plays a really good character in the film. I really like his presence, I like his dialogue, I like all the supporting cast that are in the film also. You've got Scott Adkins, who's just playing this kind of guy in a fat suit, you know, big German guy kind of thing, and he's just delivering some really kick-ass action, really hammering it up. He's definitely having a lot of fun with his kind of golden teeth and just, you know, just his inhaler. It's just great. You know, there's some really large-than-life characters in this film, and actual practical, actually in camera, very little cuts. John Wick 4 and of course the trilogy represents why I love Asian cinema and why I love kind of Hong Kong movies and kind of the action genre, and I think is a reason why John Wick 4 is doing so well at the box office, why people are getting so excited to see this next entry, because not only have you got superstar Keanu Reeves, the nicest guy in the world kind of thing, you've got a great actor representing you know, a pretty interesting character that, you know, I think is quite consistent from start to finish. I think his character is very much the straight line, which is, I think, is good. I think he, you know, he does change a little bit, but not much. He's the same character he was in the first movie, but everyone else around him is commentating on that, and I quite like that. I think all the other characters are kind of changing their opinion on him and changing the opinion of what he represents, and I quite like the kind of larger scale aspect of that. I kind of like when films kind of explore their mythology, explore that world, and, you know, keep it still contained, still make it make sense. And I think they've definitely embellished the kind of more kind of comic booky type of world. There's a lot of other aspects about John Wick Chapter 4 that I really don't want to get into, or don't want to say, and I know this review is going to be very similar to kind of other reviews of also on YouTube, giving it really high praise, and there's definitely a lot of positivity, which is fantastic, and I look forward to talking more about it in a more of a spoiler kind of environment maybe down the line. But as things stands for this Chapter 4, there is some bold choices, there is some interesting kind of direction this film goes in. If you're a fan of John Wick, if you're a fan of Keanu Reeves, if you're a fan of Asian-based, awesome action, martial arts, extraordinary stunt-based work, if you want more movies like this, go and get your ticket, go and watch it in IMAX. Absolutely, guys, absolutely worth the IMAX price for sure. Go and support the film. I'll probably end up watching it again myself very soon. Absolute masterpiece, and I look forward to seeing the kind of spin-off material that is going to come from this, with the recent announcement for the Continental series, 3-part kind of series kind of event, and then you've got the ballerina as well, which I'm really looking forward to seeing that, and John Wick's confirmed to have a cameo in that, which is great, and then potentially there's other spin-offs that could spawn from this film, and I can't wait to see the results and where it's going to go from this point onwards. So yeah, John Wick Chapter 4, please go and watch it. Please go and support the movie when you can, whether it's on a 4K edition Blu-ray, whether it's in the cinemas in IMAX. Go and watch it, guys. Please put your comments down below. So in the meantime, guys, and for reviews, signing out.